cold was not just a climate, it was a predator. It crawled under the skins, clung to the bones, and promised an eternal frozen sleep. For primitive humans, every sunset was a declaration of war. Hunger was not a simple discomfort. It was an emptiness that gnawed from within, a constant enemy that weakened the limbs and clouded the mind. In this world, before history, before written language, life was a fragile spark in the middle of a million-year storm. Every sound in the dark, every crack of a branch was a question, predator or prey. The answer determined whether you would see the sunrise. This is not a story of progress, is a brutal chronicle of survival. The tale of how a cornered species, armed only with sharp rocks and an indomitable will, refused to become extinct. This was the world as it was, indifferent, violent, and hostile to life. The planet was not our ally. He was a force to be endured, an adversary in the daily struggle for existence. During the Ice Ages, kilometer-high glaciers reshaped the continents, and unrelenting cold was the norm. Every cave, every rock shelter was not a home, but a temporary respite from the elements. Storms could strike without warning, obliterating the landscape and trapping the unsuspecting. Every day began with the same overriding question: how will we survive this day? The answer was written in the wind, in the earth, and in the blood.
In this world, food was not to be found, was won. Hunting and gathering were not hobbies, they were two halves of a life or death gamble. The hunter was a master of stealth and strategy. He had to understand the habits of his prey, read the wind to hide its scent, and know the perfect trajectory of his spear. A single mistake, a false step, and the prey escaped, leaving the clan with an empty stomach. The hunt was a ballet of patience and an explosion of coordinated violence. Equally vital was the knowledge of the foragers, a living encyclopedia of botany, passed down from generation to generation. They knew which roots gave energy, which leaves healed wounds, and which mushrooms brought death. Every calorie was a victory.
We were not the masters of this world. We were the intruders. For millennia, humanity shared the planet with megafauna, giants who saw us not as a rival, but as easy prey. Taking on a woolly mammoth or a cave lion was not a hunt, it was a war. These beasts were the pinnacle of brute strength, armed with dagger-like claws and thick hides. Our advantage lay not in strength, but in intellect and numbers. We learned to create traps, use the terrain to our advantage, and attack as a single unit. Each encounter was a confrontation with extinction, a bloody reminder of our fragile place on the food chain. And then humanity captured a piece of the sun. The mastery of fire was perhaps the most crucial turning point in our history.
It was our first real victory over nature. Fire was a shield that kept nocturnal predators at bay. It was a beacon that transformed impenetrable darkness into a circle of safety and community. It was a tool that allowed us to cook food, releasing vital nutrients that fueled the growth of our brains. Fire gave us warmth in the biting cold and the ability to harden the tips of our spears. Around the fire, stories were told, bonds were forged, and culture was born. It was the heart of the camp, the heart of the tribe.
A human was just a victim. A tribe was a force to be reckoned with. Survival was not an individual effort. It was rooted in cooperation, trust, and the social structure of the tribe. Each member had a role. Hunters provided protein, gatherers ensured nutrition, and elders were the keepers of vital knowledge. This unit was enhanced by innovation. The sharpened stone became an extension of the hand, an instrument of cutting and defense. The bone and antler were transformed into needles and hooks. Each tool was not just an object. It was the physical manifestation of an idea, a testament to our mind's ability to solve problems and bend the world to our will.
Our ancestors didn't just survive day to day. They planned for the future. They developed complex strategies, learning the migration patterns of large herds, which allowed them to anticipate where food would be. They transmitted this knowledge through spoken language and ultimately through art. The cave paintings were not mere decoration. They were hunting manuals, star maps, chronicles of their history. They were proof of a mind that not only reacted, but remembered, communicated, and believed. This ability to think beyond the immediate moment, to learn from the past and imagine the future, was his definitive weapon in the perpetual war against extinction.
Look at us now. We inhabit a world of technological wonders, protected from the elements, with food within reach. But let's not be mistaken. Within our DNA, in the deepest corners of our brain, lies the echo of that struggle. The determination of the hunter lives in the concentration of the scientist. Tribal unity is the foundation of our cities and nations. The heat of the first fire burns in every home. Every achievement of humanity, every symphony, every discovery was built on the foundation laid by those who lived and died in a forgotten world. They survived the cold, fought off beasts, and refused to disappear into the night. Their fight is our inheritance. Your will to survive is the reason we exist.